Hello and welcome to single GPU pass-through for Arch Linux, so you can pass your GPU to Windows, even just any other virtual machine. So I have this script here. You can go through it. It just installs and starts and makes a network. So you can just go code, copy, git clone. Git clone it, and then you're going to cd into the folder. You're going to chmod the script file, and then you're going to run the script file. There we go. I'm gonna click no because I already have everything installed, and then it's gonna yell at me because it can't do things because there's already stuff started. But for you, it should pass, and then you need to reboot. So you're gonna reboot your computer. Once you've done that, you can clear your terminal and type exit. And now we're done with the GitHub, and we're gonna use this guide. We're not gonna follow it completely because there's scripts in here and stuff you don't need. But make sure that you have IOMMU on. If you're on AMD, you need to go in your BIOS and turn on IOMMU, NX mode, and SVM. I use Intel, and I had to turn on VDD equals VTX equals enabled. You gotta turn on these two things. I just had to turn on something called Intel virtualization technology on my motherboard, and it turned on both of those. So now we're gonna change a grub. I don't use grub, so I have to do it slightly differently, but you're going to go to sudo your text editor /etc/default/grub, and right here on this grub _command line _linux _default equals, and then all this, you're gonna add your CPU manufacturer. So in my case, Intel _IOMMU equals on, and then IOMMU equals PT, and then for safety, you're going to put not safety, for the script stuff to get it so it can load up and shut down. You're gonna have to do video equals EFI FB : off. So if you use system deboot like me, loader entries, you're going to your system deboot will look like this. So in options, head over here, Intel IOMMU on or AMD IOMMU on, depends on what you have. IOMMU equals PT, video equals video equals EFI FB : off. Right? So now we're done with the terminal. If you're using grub, you're gonna have to run this command here and reboot grub, rebuild grub, and then reboot your computer. Make sure to reboot. System deboot, use reboot, and it applies it. Checking your IOMMU groups. So you're gonna run this script, this command. You're just gonna check your IOMMU group with your GPU. My 6700 XT is in group 1, and you can have a bridge, and you can have upscreen, as long as nothing related to all that can be in this group is your card and a PCI bridge. If the PCI bridge is not there, you're fine. And your card has to be in one group, it can't be in two separate groups. Okay. So now for libvirt, you don't have to do this because I already have my script do that. We do have to change this. Now we have to, oh no, So you're gonna uncomment this line here and uncomment this line here. And if you want logs, because for help, you're gonna need logs. Scroll all the way to the bottom. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, add those two lines. Log filter equals 1 colon QEMU. Yeah. Log output equals 1 colon file colon var slash log slash libvirt dot log. You can change it to whatever you want. That's wherever you want your log to be. I just kept mine the same as the guide. And then you're going to add yourself to group. And then you're gonna make sure that you are in the group. You're going to change your QEMU conf. So in your QEMU conf, you're going to well, you're gonna let me find it real quick. So here, you're going to uncomment this user equals your username, and then group equals your username or your group, which is gonna be your username. So you're gonna do sudo systemctl you're gonna reboot systemctl. You're gonna systemctl reboot libvirt. So I already started. Okay. So now you're gonna open up Virt Manager, and in here you're going to need to do preference. Make sure XML editing is on. So now we're gonna need a Windows 11 or Windows 10, whichever. I'm gonna do 11 in this case. ISO. Pick your language. Don't. Place wherever. I'm just gonna set it on my desktop for now, just for the video. I'm gonna make a new virtual machine. Local media install. You're gonna browse. You're gonna browse your desktop. Select that ISO. Select Windows 10. Create your storage. Okay, I'm gonna select the volume. Make sure to hit customize configuration before install. Set the name to whatever you want. I'm just going to do Win 11 to make it easy. Make sure to change your firmware to, you can have it on normal, but if you're doing Windows 11, you need to have secure boot. So now, go in here, uncheck that, and do host Passthrough. You can set it to all your CPU cores. I'm recording, so I'm not going to. I'm going to set it to 6 core, 2 thread. Let's do 16 gigs, so 16,000. Make sure to remove your USB redirects. And remove channel splice and console 1. Then you're going to add, if you're doing Windows 11, add TPM 2.0. So you're going to do add TPM. Doesn't matter, make sure it's version 2.0 and make sure it's a virtual emulated device. So now you can click begin installation. Now, we're going to boot to the Windows 11, and I'm going to let it boot. Okay, here. So next, install. I'm just going to go through the Windows 11 install like normal. Don't have a product key. Might as well go Pro. Advanced. New, or just select the and then let it install. So I'll cut back to the video. I'm going to pause the recording and cut back to it once it's installed. So once it's installed, you're going to go to, you're going to like completely install. You're going to install Windows like normal, like you would on a real computer. Right? Select everything. So you check for updates. So, next. Just to make it easier to see. Okay, I'm gonna let this finish. I'm gonna pause. Okay, so now you just like set up personal use. Gotta sign in. 1 second. I'm gonna pause the recording while I sign in. So then once you sign in, you just like create a pin or whatever. Hit OK. Set up his new device. No. 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 And you can restore from your other device if you want, if you had like a backup. That's my other virtual machine, so I'm not going to restore. Just skip, unless you want to do that stuff. I don't do it. Save only on this PC. No thanks. Unless you have a product key, but skip for now. And now we're going to let it set up. So I'm going to pause the recording while it sets up. So now that it's installed, you can install whatever you want. But two things I'm going to get is OBS so I can record. I'll install that directly. And then the drivers for my card and put it on my desktop. So that when I boot with my card, I can install my drivers and my screen doesn't look all weird. So you're just going to go here, go to Radeon Software. Download. Let me grab the OBS project real quick. Studio. So, download. Just download 2020, most recent one. So now we're going to go into our downloads. Drop this just on the desktop so you can access it. So now that you have your Radeon software on your desktop, you're going to shut down your virtual machine. Okay. Now you're going to go So this just goes over everything I told you when making the VM. So with the ROM, you can... For AMD, you don't usually need one. You might need one, so you can download it here. Dump it, not download it. And then for NVIDIA, you might want to dump your... you probably want to dump yours. There's instructions here on the Rising Wiki. I'll make sure to put this in the description. You have to patch your ROM with NVIDIA and stuff. NVIDIA is just stupid. Do all this. My card doesn't need it. I know from experience. We can skip that because we don't have that. So now, to be able to use the card in the virtual machine, you're going to remove Display Spice, the Video QXL, the sound, and the tablet. You don't have to remove those last two, which is better performance because less stuff. And then we're going to go in and we're going to add your keyboard and mouse, of course. I'm going to pass my microphone because I'm using a USB mic. I'm going to pass my audio, of course, my hi-fi audio DAC, and then my keyboard. So you usually just have to do your keyboard and mouse at first, because I'm recording, so, and I have a USB DAC. So now in PCI, you're going to find your card right here, and you're going to do that, and then the second one, the HDMI audio. There is sometimes USB with cards. Mine doesn't have it. I turn off the ROM bar here because that just adds faster boot time and easier shutdowns. And then for if you're adding a ROM, of course you follow this guide. I don't have a ROM because I don't need it. With NVIDIA, you're gonna have to add this line. You don't have to do that with AMD cards usually. And then there's a line you have to add for better performance. On Intel, you have to add this right down here. And on AMD, you have to add that bottom line there. So I'm going to copy that because I use Intel. Go to Details, Overview, XML. And where's my CPU? Where's my CPU? Where's my CPU? Right here. So it's right under topology that I put it. So just go right after topology, enter, add the feature, apply. So now I have to stop my recording, so I'm gonna press the start button and you should see the Tana core. It should look like what it was looking like when I first booted the virtual machine. When you first boot the virtual machine to install all this, it should look like that. It might take like 5 to 10, maybe 15 seconds. So don't think it's gonna happen instantaneously. Give it like 30 seconds to a minute to load, and before thinking that there's an error. And if you need any help, I'll leave the description. I'll leave a Discord server in the description. I'm very active in there. So I'm going to end the recording and load this up, and then load the recording on Windows. Okay, that's probably good. Now it's gonna look really bad because I'm on the virtual machine and it's 800 by 600, 600 by 800. So just gonna click on your Radeon software. That's why, or your Intel stuff. That's why I had you put it on the desktop, because it's very weird. And on a smaller monitor, it's gonna look really weird. I have a 34-inch 21 by 9, so it's pretty stretched and I can see pretty well. So it loads up the software. And then it's going to check your hardware. It's going to do a driver. It's going to be a standard driver install, like you're installing AMD or NVIDIA drivers on your real system. So you're going to do... I'll pick the 21. Because it's going to be a smaller package. So now you're just going to install and download the minimal build, I guess. I don't know. Just going to install it. Your screen may flicker. It's just a standard driver install, right? It's just weirder. The screen's weird until you install it because you're in a virtual machine. Your card will not show up in your virtual machine. It'll show up as a Microsoft Basic video adapter. So if that happens, don't worry. It's not because your card's not working or you didn't do it properly. You just have to install drivers. So I'll pause the recording while this install. And then once your driver installs, you get your full screen size. So I get my 21:9 screen size. You click finish and it'll launch your AMD software or NVIDIA, however NVIDIA does it. It's been a while since I've installed NVIDIA drivers. It's been over a year because I haven't used Windows in a year, especially with NVIDIA. Now, you can just do whatever with the software file, it doesn't matter. Skip because I don't actually care on this VM. And then you have your up-to-date drivers. And if you go to performance, you can see your metrics here. That's how you set up a virtual machine. So now you have a fully working, you can see that it's a QEMU system because obviously the weird memory, the 15.6 gigs of memory, the QEMU hard disk drive, the weird Intel thing, the weird frequency because I have a 5 gigahertz. I have overclocked 5 gigahertz. Obviously the virtual machine, yes, you can change that through a bunch of methods. The virtual processors, usually I just turn on Hyper-V and that fixes my CPU conf. And then your card shows up. You can install Steam, start gaming, install Adobe, start doing all that. So I'm gonna jump back to Linux to finish up the video. So now wrapping up this video, I'll have the GitHub, the Rising Prism guide, the Discord that I'm very active in, all in the description. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. See you guys in another video.